Property to me was the thing that made me successful.
Yep.
Yes.
Investing.
Yes.
But being very cautious, very cautious. But we did have everything on the line.
Mm.
If someone comes to you and says, Susan, I want you to mentor me in a couple of principles on how to succeed through buying property, what are some of the core messages that you would give?
Well, I do actually mentor a couple of young women, not necessarily in property, but in other businesses, and I really enjoy that, helping them, and I've seen one become very, very successful. But I'd say be very cautious about what you're going to do. I think it's important to do it. I think you should have a go. I've always had a go, but I've always done my homework beforehand. I've engaged with people smarter than me. I've always done that. I've always gravitated to people smarter than me. I've asked many questions from many people before I made a decision. And that's the thing I think is really important. You go and get as much information that you can then make a decision. Don't always rely on your gut feeling. I've done a bit of that too, but I've also done my homework. I've never gone into something where I haven't done my homework beforehand. And I've never been one to be jealous, or envious. I think sometimes that can come into play. Why have they got that? Or if I do this, can I be the same as them? Well, it doesn't work like that. Do your homework. Talk to as many people that you have got respect for, that know the market, which is what I did after Angelo died with the CEO syndicate. God bless them. I don't know what I would have done. They pointed me in directions that I would never have gone in if I hadn't have been part of that syndicate. So I'd say do your homework and then make your decision, but be informed beforehand. That's what I've always done since Angelo died.
And Susan, what was your blend of holding versus selling, or were you selling most of it that you were doing?
No, we weren't. We were holding.
Terrific.
We were doing pre-leases then after that because we could see the future.
Yep.
It was not a case of building and selling. Only builders make a profit when you do that.
Yes.
Not the investor. They can't make a profit. Their margin is not there. Whereas with a builder, we then bought large pockets of land. We then did pre-leases. They ranged from 20,000, or say square feet, because that's what it was then, up to 200,000 square feet.
Yep.
It was a bit like Fred Flintstone territory at the time. We're cutting up and fitting buildings in our land, and everything was on the line.
Yes.
Every single thing was on the line.
Each time.
It was like a merry-go-round.
Yeah.
But we knew ultimately in the future it would return to us if we were to hang on to it and keep these valuable properties, which we did. We sold one or two along the way, but mainly kept them. Okay. I wanted to buy a block of land, and I had a little bit. I was a good saver, and I didn't have any of the luxuries of life. I had, as I said, food on the table. And I said to Angela, I want to buy that block of land. He said, you want it? You buy it. You pay for it. And this is going back in the 60s, and I thought, stuff you. I'll buy it. I've got $3,000 saved. It's a beautiful block of land. It's on the high side of the road. And I had thoughts in the back of my mind of doing something there at that particular time. It was it was 2/3 of an acre.
Wow.
Cost me $18,000. High up on the road on Gels Road in Willers Hill.
Yeah.
I paid $3,000 deposit. I borrowed the rest. It was a lot of money then, and I paid it off very quickly because I was working in a legal office.
And how did you go with the lending side?
Getting a loan.
Obviously.
I had to go to not a bank. They knocked me back.
Yes.
But I got it from a Sandra, I think it was, and I was paying 18% interest.
Wow.
I know. But it was the only way I could get a loan. And that was my first venture into real estate.
Yeah.
And my last venture into real estate, if you could be serious about this, was buying plots at the cemetery. 9 plots. It's cheaper if you buy 9 than you buy 1. And after Angelo died, I was determined to get a plot facing north, because he loved facing north on a corner. We always like to buy things on a corner.
Yes.
And I was determined to get what he wanted. And I said, I'm not leaving until you give me what I want. If I have to, I'll buy 9 plots. Deal done. Best deal I've ever done.